So Mr. Suga is likely to be the next Prime Minister of Japan, and people might say many things about Mr. Suga, but one thing is certain, and which is he's not second generation, third generation politician, which is rare in Japanese politics. I know it sounds really weird, but in Japanese politics, the member of parliament, they usually inherit his dad's or mother's basis, of base. Yeah, it's usually a father because the Japanese politics is a really male-dominated game. Anyway, it's a really strange word. I mean, for example, when a senior member of the parliament, a senior politician, retires, people would ask, who is going to be the successor? His son or his son-in-law? So the Japanese politics is actually a family business. If you look at the past prime ministers, many of them are actually second generation, third generation politicians from a political family, inherited down the generations. I know this is weird, but that's Japanese politics for you. So Mr. Suga is not second generation, third generation. He's first generation member of parliament. So if Mr. Suga becomes prime minister, that's rare. I know it's really weird, but that's so that's a status quo. So probably he'll bring a breath of fresh air to Japanese politics, and the media is already seizing on it. And yeah, the way Japanese TV organized, it's kind of weird. I mean, so when Mr. Suga is tipped to be the next prime minister, the Japanese TV land on the local area from where Mr. Suga is elected, and they interview people and ask if they are happy because the prime minister is coming from that region. And they say, yeah, congratulations, Mr. Suga. I am rooting for you as prime minister. He'll be a prime minister. We're so proud that the prime minister is coming from this region, and that kind of stuff. It's really frivolous, superficial, but that's Japanese TV. Well, so I think the Japanese TV would have an honeymoon of some sort with Mr. Suga for some period, partly because he's the first generation preaching, and also it's reported that he really had economic hardship when he was a college student. So he actually went to the college for night classes, and during the day he had to work to pay for his tuition. So that kind of story goes down very well with the Japanese public, and which is actually I think something common in many countries. But having said that, this this emphasis of locality, as if the people from this region where Mr. Suga represent as a member of parliament will be happy at this premise, of my prime minister, our prime minister, just because he's coming from that region. It's very Japanese, and it probably goes back in history to the Edo era, maybe, when each locality in Japan had their own samurai lord, and they kind of looked up to the samurai lord as someone who would be beneficial and do good things for them. And if the samurai lord, is elected some high functionaries in the Edo government, Tokugawa shogunate, then people would have been really happy. And I think the same pattern repeated with Mr. Suga's election as the next Prime Minister of Japan.